Welcome to the Sock Door Podcast, where life is messy, but we always find meaning in it. Every week, we pull out the stories, the lessons, and the hidden gems. And then we ask the big question, keep it or kick it? If you're ready for real talk, brave steps forward. Now let's meet today's guest. Hey, listeners, today we are welcoming Trent Begley. He is someone who has spent 30 plus, maybe close to 40 years in the roofing industry. He has built a name for himself, known across the country. He's worked on both commercial and residential. He's worked with architects, consultants, and has his own team of regional tech guys that he works with. He is especially, I would say, proud of the fact that he has built a name for himself, been in this industry for such a long time, and you'll get to hear why in just a few moments. I know that his stories and insights are actually going to inspire you, maybe to stay on one side of it where you stay in an industry for a very long time. There are multiple perks for that. Or it inspires you to look into the trades and maybe do something in that end if you're considering it. So let's dive in. Trent, we're so glad to have you here today. Tell me a little bit about, you've done some amazing things in your career. If you would just tell me a little bit about, give me a couple highlights in the, 40 years that you've been doing this, of the things that you feel were the most prominent throughout your career, things that really stood out to you as you went through a almost 40-year career in roofing.
Basically, started out on the roof as an apprentice, became a journeyman roofer. Very proud of that in the union, Local 36 out of Southern California. Then moved back east with my family, and I became a field technical manager. And from there, I moved up to a regional manager. Always basically loved what I did, loved being outside. I think that I couldn't do an inside job. So I think that this was meant for me. And I, say my blessings every day that I get to be outside every day. Most of the time I get to see the sunrise, and it's a beautiful sight every day.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So when people hear, well, let me ask you this. Out of what do you find you're most passionate about within the roofing industry? What is it that drives you?
I would say with the tough jobs, coming in and trying to figure out what the best way to attack them and get them done. So the tougher the jobs are, the more specified they are, the more specialties they are. I enjoy very, very much.
Amazing. So is it fair to say that you're kind of someone who really likes a challenge and is presented with a challenge to overcome, that you are passionate about that and you like to exceed the expectations of that challenge?
Yeah, I consider myself a problem solver. So I've always said this, I run towards problems, not away from them. So, and I want to do them in a timely fashion with honesty and integrity throughout the whole process. And I believe that that's the best way to go about a problem or an issue at hand.
So when you make that decision to, one, you just said, go about it in the best way possible, how do you navigate that? What do you have a process that you follow, or is it different with every job? What would you say?
Well, it's different because of the human factor. And, there's people that are upset because seriously, their roof's leaking or their building's leaking and they want the water to stop coming in. So, um, or they have a issue with a product or something else. So,
Hmm.
you really have to have a lot of compassion, um, and listen to each one of your clients. Each one is is an individual themselves.
That makes sense. What what's part of your coming into becoming this and having the roofing industry being part of the evolution of it? What's the probably part of that journey, I guess, that most people would not know about?
Um, that when you're going into any trades, you know, um, it's tough for younger men or younger women to realize that you got to pay your dues. You can't just start at the top. So I learned it and put my head down and went to work, but paid attention and studied and perfected my craft.
Yeah. What would you say in the last 5 years there's a new skill that you've acquired and are excited about in your industry?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big computer guy, and I'm learning the computer. And with the help of my wonderful wife, I can always, count for her, backing me up. But I'm more of a hands-on type of guy, installing and doing that. And the computer frustrates me, but I am learning to uh, to understand it and to use it as a tool.
Yeah, I would say that's a great skill to acquire. Let me ask you, in today's world of younger generation who may be looking at going into the trades versus headed off to college, what piece of advice would you offer them to help make that decision?
Again, going to college really, I never did. I wish I would have. I don't know if again, it's a lot of money if you're not sure. But if you go into the trades, you're going to be working as you're going through an apprenticeship, or you're getting paid to actually learn instead of pay to learn. So
Okay.
there's a big plus there, and at the end of the day, you may grow to love it or you may grow to hate it. But again, the same thing with college. You may grow to love what you're doing, or you come out of college and you got a degree and you never use that degree in your field. That's just my personal opinion.
So if you take yourself back to when you were facing that crossroad and you made the decision to go into the trades versus heading off to college or looking at a career path that would need college, what would you say was pivotal in you making that decision?
The first thing was the paycheck. Um, it was, I mean, you work hard, but you get paid well to do a job that most people don't want to do. And
Now, are you
we've
saying that?
always,
Oh, sorry.
no, go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Well, I was just asking if you're saying that specifically to roofing, um, or the trades as a whole in general.
Roofing's probably one of the most dangerous and brutal on your body because you're outside, you don't have any the direct sunlight. It's 110 degrees out. and you're up on a roof installing a roof.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, you could put up a tent, a pop-up tent and different things. Nowadays, when I was doing it, they never did it. But again, it's a tough. It's kind of like concrete's another one. Being on your knees, finishing concrete in the middle of the summer, in the middle of the sun. There's no shade, so and it's more, believe it or not, it's more mental, because if you keep thinking it's hot, it's this, you're never going to finish the day's task, or what you got to get done.
What do you feel helps you with your mindset and staying on the upside of things versus looking at all the negative? Because there's always pros and cons, right? There's some good, some bad in every industry, as we know. But what do you think, being in the trades, and like you said, probably one of the most brutal out there in the trades industry is roofing? What do you think, or what could you offer our listeners as a suggestion to keep their mindset? They decided they want to go into the trades, to keep their mindset on the positive side of things in that industry.
Well, I would say anybody that works for, with their back for a
Yep.
living. My father always said, you're going to either work with your back or your mind. You make the choice.
Yeah.
And I chose my back, for lesser words. But as you learn and you obtain all of these pieces, and you become, I don't want to, I feel like I'm a journeyman roofer, I'm a mechanic, I'm a craftsman. You're proud of that. And then once you're that, then you move up, and there's so many other areas that you can move into that
Mhm.
you're not breaking your back. When I became a foreman, I didn't have, I'm instructing the crew, and I still work, but I wasn't the guy in the trash pile back there putting all the trash into the dumps. So I
Right.
evolved,
You would say you kind of
and I
earned
just
your way up the ladder.
right. If you can, it's like now I always say, and I saw this somewhere and I don't remember where, a good leader, they had a ladder going up and a guy was up on the ladder. A good leader is holding the ladder for his men. He's not the one crawling up the ladder. So
Yeah.
in my younger years, I was the first one up that ladder. And if you were slow, I would crawl over you to get up that
Uh,
ladder. Now I'm the guy down at the bottom holding the ladder to make sure it's secure for the men to go up, if that makes any sense.
it does. What do you think in the trades industry makes a good leader? What are the top three qualities of a good leader and tradesman?
Again, um, caring, compassion for your men, because, if if they don't feel like they have someone on their side or in their corner or going to back them, even if they do make a mistake, because we all do, none of us are perfect. Um, it's hard, for a person in the trades, if they're always being, yelled at, and basically, get the job done and never get any perks on the other side of it.
In all your years in the trade of roofing, did you come across a mentor that you would
I
say
came,
gave you the best advice and help?
I came across a few of them. My first foreman taught me a lot. He was a perfectionist, and he trained me to do the job, and it had to be perfect all the time. And then I had other foremans that basically they saw that I was driven, and they actually handed me the reins, and that way they could go do other stuff that they didn't want to do what I was doing. So yeah, but I had a lot of mentors that took me under their wings and helped me get where I'm at today.
Love that. You're so fortunate. Not everybody has that opportunity. If you had to sum up the biggest lesson in this 40-year career, what would it be?
So I'm going to go with my faith, and I've learned that my faith comes first, then my family, then my work. If if my faith and my family is in line, I can give a heck of a day's worth of work. But if the first two are off by any little degree, um, I'm not I'm not as good as I should be. So that's my
Love
opinion.
that.
That's where I stand. And
Love that. That's good advice. And those are great lessons. Well, let me ask you this for our listeners. What advice would you give to someone who's in the space who's at the crossroad? What advice would you give them?
crossroad of what? The crossroad
The
of going.
crossroad of, do I want to be in the trades or do I want to head to college? Or I don't know what I want to do.
Well, so there is a shortage of tradesmen, in all the trades, whether it's HVAC, whether it's concrete, whether it's carpentry, sheet metal, roofing, you name it. There's a shortage on all of those uh, fronts. Also, and I never served. But I do believe in our military, and a lot of times that is a great place to start. You give your 4 years, you serve, and then if you go and during the military, from what I've heard, I don't have any experience with it, but what I've heard is you come out of the military with some guidance where you want to go, and then you can go to college to better that what you found, in the military or not in the military, but you're a little bit
Sure.
older and stuff.
And wiser,
So,
sure.
but in the
So would
trade,
you say,
yeah, in the
okay.
trade, yeah,
So your advice
well,
would
in the trade,
be check all, just do the research and I don't mean to put words in your mouth, but your advice would be research all avenues and consider everything that, you have options to, because there's multiple options. That would be your advice for someone to get into the trades, go to college, military?
yeah, and
Is that
again, I really do believe in learning and continuing your education, and always I read a lot. I get a tech manual, or I get a spec sheet, or a scope of work, or I'm in hog's heaven.
yeah, awesome. Okay, so a couple of things we do here at the Sock Drawer Podcast, Trent. Thank you so much for all of that. And I'm sure our listeners have learned a lot in being able to develop and make a decision maybe where they're headed. We do a hot seat at the end. So are you ready to just have a little fun now and give our listeners a 60-second scoop about you, and just say the first thing that pops into your head? All right. I feel like I should do a little minute timer or whatever. Are you ready? Here we
but you
go.
might want to be careful here.
Morning person or a night owl?
Morning,
Favorite socks, fuzzy winter dress socks or athlete socks?
athletic,
What song instantly puts a smile on your face?
That's a tough one. There's all kinds. Probably Blues Brothers. I got everything I need.
Okay.
Almost.
One habit that you swear by to keep yourself grounded every day.
One habit. Praying.
Okay. Love it. Something you recently let go of to be able to move forward.
Anger issues.
Okay. Coffee, tea, or something stronger?
Coffee.
If your life had a billboard right now, what would it say on the billboard?
Welcome to the jungle.
I love it. And where's the best place for people to connect with you?
That just call me or email me at
Okay.
TrentB1229 @yahoo.com.
Perfect. All right. So listen, this is our signature question at SDP. And before we close, this is my favorite part of the show. Every guest on the Sock Drawer podcast leaves our listeners with one tiny dare, something simple, maybe brave, maybe even a little uncomfortable for them, but it's something our listeners can try this week. It's kind of our way of turning these conversations into real action for our guests, for our listeners. So, Trent, what's your tiny dare for our listeners this week?
I would say so, and again, this works for me. Get outside, walk. It doesn't matter how far, it doesn't matter how long. Just listen to nature and just for 5 minutes, please. You'll
I
you'll
love it.
you'll really enjoy it.
Awesome. All right, listeners, now it's your turn. Take this tiny dare and let us know how it goes. You can tag me on social media at Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, all the things, right? Find at One Brave Step or drop a comment wherever you're listening. I love hearing the stories, and who knows, we may even share your story right here on a future episode. So until next week, y'all, stay brave. All right, Sock Drawer family, that's a wrap on today's Drawer Dump. Big thanks to our guests for sharing their story and their heart with us. Until next time. Don't forget, life's too short for mismatched socks. Retire the ones with holes, inspire the ones that still shine. See you soon.